At the exact moment your life feels like it's falling apart, your brain isn't panicking like you'd expect. It's executing a cold, calculated protocol that's been hardwired through millions of years of evolution. But here's the terrifying twist. That response, the one designed to keep you alive, might actually be breaking you down from the inside out. Why does the brain sometimes shut down completely under extreme stress, while other times it unleashes almost superhuman strength? And what if I told you that the very chemicals released to protect you could be silently destroying you? Most people have no idea how much power stress really has over their mind and body until it's too late. By the end of this video, you'll discover why the most decorated Navy SEALs are trained to embrace stress instead of avoid it, how a single spike of cortisol can rewire your memory storage system, and the reason some trauma survivors remember every detail, while others black out entire hours. You'll learn the hidden neural mechanism that decides whether you freeze, fight, or completely fall apart. And perhaps most disturbingly, you'll find out why your brain can physically shrink during prolonged stress without you ever noticing until it's already happened. Most people think stress is just about feeling overwhelmed, anxious, or burned out. You take a deep breath, maybe scroll through your phone, tell yourself it'll pass, and that's it. The common belief is that stress is all in your mindset, easily managed with willpower or a bit of self-care. We're told that it's temporary, that it fades once the pressure's gone. But what if that's just the surface truth? What if the real impact of extreme stress doesn't go away when the moment passes but hides, mutates, and waits? Here's the unsettling reality. Under extreme stress, your brain doesn't work the way you think it does. It reroutes resources, prioritizes survival, and shuts down non-essential systems including parts of your memory, emotional regulation, and even basic decision-making. Neurologically, your prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for logic and executive function, begins to go offline. At the same time, the amygdala, the brain's fear center, fires wildly, demanding immediate action. This isn't a metaphor. It's a documented phenomenon known as amygdala hijack, and it can happen in less than 1/10 of a second. The result? You might lash out, freeze, or make reckless decisions without understanding why. And even after the event passes, your brain might never return to its pre-stress configuration. Instead, it adapts to survive the next threat, permanently changing the way you think and feel in the process. So what does that mean for people who live under constant pressure? The consequences are far more lasting than most realize, and far more dangerous. Let's look at the proof. In one study published in the Journal of Neuroscience, soldiers exposed to high combat environments showed measurable atrophy in their hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for memory and learning, within just a few months. Not years, months. Brain scans revealed reduced gray matter, especially in regions tied to mood regulation and impulse control. And what's even more chilling is that the changes weren't reversible by simply returning to normal life. Another report from Stanford found that repeated cortisol surges, like those experienced during chronic stress or trauma, can literally eat away at synaptic connections. These aren't just stress wrinkles. These are architectural shifts inside your brain's core. What might begin as a survival mechanism becomes a long-term neurological remodeling that alters how you process fear, trust, and even hope. So, if stress can physically reshape our minds, what else might it be changing without us realizing? It turns out, extreme stress doesn't just shift your emotions or blur your thoughts. It can change your identity. Researchers at McGill University studied individuals who endured long-term trauma, such as combat veterans and survivors of natural disasters, and discovered that many developed altered self-perceptions. Their sense of who they were, how they connected to others, and even their moral compass showed drastic transformation. In neuroscience, this is known as identity dissolution, and it's not just psychological. Functional MRI scans reveal decreased activity in the medial prefrontal cortex, the region tied to introspection and self-referential thinking. In other words, when stress takes over for too long, your brain stops processing you the same way. That's not just haunting. It means the very filter through which you experience reality can be rewritten. So the next time you wonder why someone changed after a traumatic experience, remember, they didn't just change emotionally. Their brain rewired the version of themselves they once were. But if stress can erase pieces of our core identity, what does that mean for society at large, especially in a world that's becoming more anxious by the year? In a society soaked in hyperstimulation, economic uncertainty, and non-stop performance pressure, we're collectively entering a slow-motion neurological crisis. The World Health Organization has already declared stress the health epidemic of the 21st century. But what they're not saying is that this epidemic isn't just mental, it's architectural. Every high-pressure deadline, every doom scroll, every unresolved trauma is potentially leaving a structural fingerprint on your brain. And if enough people experience that shift, we're not just looking at isolated trauma, we're witnessing a potential mass rewriting of empathy, reason, and resilience on a global scale. Could this be why public discourse is becoming more polarized, or why societal trust is deteriorating? These aren't just cultural issues, they may be neurological symptoms of a world perpetually locked in fight-or-flight mode. The question isn't just what stress is doing to you, it's what it's doing to all of us, together. And here's the part no one wants to admit. Even if you understand all this, you're not immune. Your brain's stress circuits don't care how educated, mindful, or self-aware you are. They're ancient, automatic, and brutally efficient. But knowledge is power if it leads to action. Understanding how your brain reacts under pressure means you can begin to train those systems, reshape your responses, and protect the mental architecture that defines who you are. The truth is, we're all walking around with neurobiology that hasn't adapted fast enough for the modern world. But by recognizing the signs, by building in deliberate recovery practices, and by refusing to normalize chronic overload, you can reclaim the steering wheel. Because the reality is this: unchecked stress won't just damage your mood, it might rewrite your mind. So ask yourself, who's really piloting your brain right now? And how long can you go without taking it back? So now you're probably wondering, can those changes ever be reversed? Is the damage permanent? Or can the brain heal from years of pressure and trauma? Neuroscience offers a sliver of hope. Studies on neuroplasticity have shown that under the right conditions, the brain can rebuild lost connections and even regrow gray matter. Practices like mindfulness, meditation, deep sleep, consistent physical activity, and intentional social connection have all been linked to hippocampal regeneration and improved emotional regulation. But here's the catch: the longer your brain operates in survival mode, the harder it is to access these healing pathways. It's not about quick fixes or 5-minute hacks. It's about recognizing that stress isn't just a feeling, it's a force that reshapes you. And if you don't interrupt its grip, it could finish the rewriting process before you even notice it started. So the real question becomes, will you take back control, or let stress decide who you become? Let me leave you with this: the most dangerous part of stress isn't the panic attack, the sleepless night, or the moment you feel like breaking. It's the silent rewiring that happens when you convince yourself you're fine. When temporary survival becomes your new normal, your brain adapts, and not always in your favor. The choice isn't whether you'll be changed by stress, it's whether you'll shape that change or let it shape you. So, pause, breathe, reflect. Because every moment you ignore the warning signs is another moment your brain rewrites the instructions for who you are. And if you're watching this, it means it's not too late to take the pen back and start rewriting the story yourself, before your brain finishes the draft without you. If this shocked you, you're not alone. Most people never realize how invisibly powerful stress is until something breaks mentally, emotionally, or physically. But the real danger isn't in the breakdown. It's in what happens every day we ignore the buildup. Millions wake up each morning feeling numb, disconnected, or constantly on edge, thinking it's just part of modern life. But what if that's not life, it's stress? Quietly rewiring everything. This isn't just about brain science anymore. It's about your future, your relationships, your identity. The war isn't out there, it's inside your head. And now that you see it, the question is simple: what are you going to do about it? Your brain is the battlefield, where the future version of you is being decided every single day. Not by dramatic traumas or headline-worthy events, but by the small, relentless surges of invisible stress you normalize. The email you can't stop thinking about, the financial fear that tightens your chest, the endless performance treadmill that never lets you rest. All of it leaves fingerprints, structural, chemical, and emotional, etched into the folds of your brain. But here's the final truth: just as stress can rewire you in harmful ways, conscious effort can redesign those circuits. You're not stuck, you're not broken, you're under siege, and now you know where the fight is. So, if you take action today, you're not just managing stress, you're reclaiming the architecture of your mind and choosing who you become, one neural pathway at a time. And in this war for your identity, awareness is your greatest weapon. So now that you've seen the hidden war playing out inside your brain, the danger isn't ignorance anymore, it's inaction. The same circuits that hardwire trauma also hold the keys for transformation. Recovery doesn't start with medication, meditation, or motivation. It starts with awareness. The awareness that you hold the pen, not stress. That how you react to this moment could redefine every version of you still to come. So the next time stress grips you, don't just survive it. Study it, challenge it, redirect it. Because every habit, every choice, every second you reclaim is a chance to reshape not just your mind, but your destiny. The battlefield is active. The stakes are high. And now, you know what's at risk. Everything. If this video revealed something you've felt but never had words for, don't scroll past. Share it with someone who might be quietly battling this invisible war too. Because the more we understand how our brains betray and protect us, the more power we have to change the outcome. Stress will always be part of life, but letting it shape our memories, our decisions, and our sense of self doesn't have to be. Hit subscribe if you want to dive deeper into the science of how your mind really works. And if this helped you see your own story more clearly, drop a comment below. You never know who needs to read it. We'll see you in the next video. Stay conscious, stay curious, and stay in control. And finally, remember this, your brain isn't broken, it's reacting exactly as it was built to. But your environment has changed faster than your biology ever could. What was once a brilliant survival system is now assaulted daily by inputs it was never meant to process at this scale. So yes, stress is real, but so is your ability to reshape how you meet it. You don't need to fear your brain's response, you need to understand it. Because at the end of the day, the most powerful thing you can do is this: choose awareness over automation. In a world constantly demanding reaction, reclaim your right to respond. That's not just a mental shift, it's a neurological revolution. One only you can lead. Thanks for watching. If you found even one moment in this video that made you stop and think, that rewired your perspective even slightly, then don't let it stop here. This channel is all about digging deeper into the hidden truths of how our minds really work. Because when you understand your brain, you understand your life. So turn on notifications, join this community, and be part of a movement of people choosing to live with eyes open instead of autopilot on. This isn't just about science, it's about self-mastery. Until next time, stay ready, stay resilient, and never stop asking the uncomfortable questions, because that's where the breakthroughs begin. And if there's one final takeaway, let it be this: your brain is not your enemy, and stress isn't your destiny. It's your signal, a brutally honest, biologically embedded alarm bell that something needs to change. Ignoring it is easy, but costly. Listening to it, really listening, is how transformation begins. You now know what's happening under the surface: the rewiring, the erosion, the silent recalibration. But awareness without action is just trivia. Let this be your line in the sand, not tomorrow, not when you're less busy, now. Because no matter how deep the damage goes, your story isn't finished, and every decision from this moment pages a different ending. So which version of you are you choosing to become? This isn't just a video, it's a wake-up call. Because the real battle isn't just happening in labs or headlines, it's unfolding inside each of us, every day, unnoticed. Stress rewires silently, acts invisibly, and if you're not vigilant, it reshapes your life without your consent. But now you know, and awareness changes everything. So make the choice today, not out of fear, but out of power. The power to interrupt, to rebuild, to become. Your future self is waiting for the decisions you make right now. Listen to your brain. It's not just signaling danger, it's begging for a different path forward. And the best part? That path is still yours to choose.